Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and one MSNBC reporter, no, that's a lie, several MSNBC reporters and other mainstream media reporters are freaking out about what President Trump just did, and they're showing their racial side. Before we get started, guys, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. Are you in favor of bringing migrants who are suffering into this country? Well, if you're a Democrat and I ask that question, you're going to say yes. And almost 20 million of them have come into this country from South America and Central America and Africa and Asia and all kinds of places, Europe. And Democrats really haven't had much of an issue, especially with people from South America and Central America. But yesterday, President Trump took in 50 white people from South Africa, and the people in the media about lost their minds, showing exactly how racial they are, showing exactly what's on their mind, actually exposing themselves. 50 white people. By the way, if you don't know the plight of the white South African farmers who are being slaughtered and having their land stolen, do some research on it. These people are actual refugees. And there are real refugees from Central America, there's real refugees from Haiti, and I think we have to look hard at bringing in refugees. I was in support of bringing in the Haitian refugees when all that was going on there. So be consistent about it. I think we should help people in trouble, at least temporarily, until it's safe for them to go back home. But the Democrats, people in the media, seems to me that for them, how much they want to help you depends greatly on the color of your skin. I want you to take a look at her meltdown here and let me know what you think in the comments.
It's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. We've essentially extended citizenship to those people.
49 white South Africans arrived just outside of Washington today on a U.S. chartered flight, granted citizenship status by the Trump administration. A surprise move because President Trump himself signed an executive order on day one of his presidency, suspending the refugee admissions program, quote, until such a time as the further entry into the United States of refugees aligns with the interests of the United States. So what makes these Afrikaners different from other refugees from war-torn countries like Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, or Afghanistan, who have been waiting for years to get into the country? Joining us now, NBC News White House correspondent Yamiche Alcindor. And it comes, Yamiche, on the very same day that the Trump administration has rescinded the temporary protected status for Afghan immigrants here in this country.
That's right. I've been talking to a number of people who say it's heartbreaking that the Trump administration has ended TPS for Afghans. I want to read to you part of what the reasoning is that the Trump administration is putting out. They say we've reviewed the conditions in Afghanistan with our interagency partners, and they do not meet the requirements for a TPS designation. But I've been talking to people who say, look, Afghanistan is a country that has now all these regulations against women. They can't go to school. They can't speak in public even. There's also people that are in hiding. I've spoken to some of them in hiding. Who helped the U.S. military before the Taliban went back into power. So there's a lot of people who are now feeling heartbroken by this decision by the Trump administration, Katie.
It is surprising. All right, so what is different about these Afrikaners who have been allowed to come into the country, these 49 Afrikaners?
Well, it's a big question, and it's a key question here. We know that the Trump administration suspended the refugee settlement program, saying that essentially we didn't have space for this. I want to read to you part of what their reasoning was at the time. They said the United States lacks the ability to absorb large numbers of migrants, and in particular refugees, into its communities. They went on to say that this really ensures the appropriate assimilation of refugees. But I've been talking to folks, and they say really this is about race, they think, especially some South Africans who fled after the apartheid and the racist regime there. I talked to some people who told me that they feel like this is the president essentially taking the side of people who are white over black refugees, including in places like Sudan and the Congo. There was also a question, why is there an exception being made? Here's what the Deputy Secretary of State said today.
That pause, of course, was subject from the very beginning to exceptions where it was determined that this would be in the interest of the United States. Some of the criteria are making sure that refugees did not pose any challenge to our national security and that they could be assimilated easily into our country.
So the Trump administration, they're saying that essentially these white South Africans assimilate better, and they're also not as much of a security risk. That's really causing a lot of people to be appalled, frankly. And I also should tell people that this violence that they're talking about that are dealing with these Afrikaners, I've been hearing from people that say there is violence in South Africa, but it's affecting everybody of every single race, Katie.
All right, Yamiche Alcindor, thank you very much. And the next hour of Katie Tur Reports starts right now.